What's up, guys? Welcome back to the SixYard Banter. Man, I still, the loss against Leeds United and the way and manner in which we lost the game against Leeds still leaves me with. I still have a sore taste in my mouth. I still feel very, very down from that loss. But then again, we can't afford to dwell so much on it for too long because we have another game to look up to, and that's tomorrow against Bournemouth as we travel to Bournemouth to take on the Bournemouth side, and which is why this video is coming, because this video is going to be of two segments, yeah, two phases. One is talking about what Chelsea needs to do going forward, and then the other is talking about my match predicted lineup for the Bournemouth game. Okay, so let's just dive right into it. So, like I said, this video is going to be of two phases here. The first is going to be talking about what Chelsea and Enzo Maresca need to do, okay, in terms of the club's direction and where Chelsea are going, and then what Enzo Maresca is building, and most importantly, what must improve if this project is going to survive the pressure of the full Premier League season. Because let's be honest, yeah, we're at a crossroad now. Okay, the talent is obvious. The structure every week becomes clearer and more visible, and then the potential is there, but then the margin for error it just keeps shrinking. Okay, and we need to have a discussion or a conversation on what Chelsea and Enzo Maresca need to fix going forward. Because if we continue like this, where one moment we are up against a top team, a top side, and then we're giving 101 out of 100, okay, and then when we do everything, we perform when we're up against top teams, and then when we go take on teams like Leeds, like we did against, like the Wednesday night, and then we falter and we get spanked about by teams that Chelsea are supposed to be feasting on and getting at the barest minimum. They should be winning one way or the other. Okay, and so we need to have these conversations because the level of consistent inconsistencies that we are seeing from this Chelsea side is painful to watch. I'm still, like I said, I'm still suffering from the shock of the defeat at the hands of Leeds on Wednesday night. I mean, there was so much, the team was so flat. They were so flat that you could see that Chelsea were going to lose the game if they didn't fix up. And they ended up losing and losing in a very, very bad way. And this is going to lead me to my first talking point, which is actually Enzo Maresca came out today and talked about players' fitness and minutes management. And that's why I'm going to be starting from there, because we understand that Enzo Maresca, prior to the game against Leeds, has made over 100 changes, rotation, before or after the Arsenal game, before the Leeds game. And that's owing to the fact that he's trying to manage players' fitness, especially players that we know that are prone to injuries, players like Fofana, Badiashile, our most important player and club captain in Reece James. We know that these players cannot afford to be overworked, otherwise they're going to break down, and that's fine. But when you bring on players like Tosin, who this season has been the worst player for Chelsea this season, and keeping players like Josh Achiempong, whenever he's called on, is dropping a masterclass, is dropping a good performance, and it doesn't belie expectations of him. We understand that he wants to manage players' fitness and that not all players can cope. And that's fine. Okay, the Chelsea squad is young, they full of high intensity, press heavy, and they are physically demanding. And that combination is dangerous without proper rotation. Of course, we're already seeing signs across the league of what happens when players play 90 minutes every week and or they are maybe rushed back from injury and don't get managed through fatigues. And we understand what Enzo Maresca is doing. You also have to manage minutes of Moises Caicedo, and thankfully he's serving a 3 game suspension. He's going to be absent for the game. Okay, he's been one down, 2 more misses for him. The game against Bournemouth and then Everton, and that's good for him. That would be a good opportunity for him to recover well, and then also manage the fitness of Enzo Fernandez. I understand that Maresca is trying to manage, but then he has to tinker and not overcook like he did against this thing. Because what was the essence of Tosin coming on in place of Josh Achiempong and Tosin dropping his stinker like he did? And that was just not the first game he did. He did the same thing. You remember the game against Wolves in the Carabao Cup? He did the same thing where what's the guy's name? Strand Larsen was feasting on him. How can you have a height like that and you cannot win area duels? Calvert-Lewin against on Wednesday did the same thing. And Tosin makes the rest of the defense line very poor. We understand he's very good at build up and all that, but then what's the difference? You cannot even move the ball. You can't move the ball you can't attack spaces that are open to you. So what's the point of Tosin starting? This is where I question Enzo Maresca's decision. Benching Achiempong for Tosin. So Enzo Maresca, as much as he's trying to manage players' fitness, and rightfully so, he also needs to not over tweak. How do you what the worst case scenario was that you could have used Gusto as a right back, Trevor Chalobah and Badia Shield as centre back pairing, and probably Cucurella or Hato, and that would have even done a better job. So he needs to understandably rotate and manage players' fitness, but let him do it. You don't have to over rotate to the point. The defense line is one of the areas where you cannot afford to tinker too much. You can't afford to do so much rotation at the back line because you are messing up with the chemistry and all that. And then leads me to my second point: tactical simplicity. And Enzo Maresca needs to stop overcomplicating. He needs to stop overcooking. We understand what geniuses do. People like Guardiola and all that. And doesn't mean I'm saying Enzo Maresca is in the same level as Guardiola, but he's in the same path. He's walking the same path as Guardiola. And then you can see them always wanting to cook and always wanting to tweak and all that. Okay, but then our problem this season has come from this part. Okay, this is the biggest lesson for Enzo Maresca going forward. In every game doesn't need a brand new experiment. The game against Leeds just proved it that just the tactical simplicity would have done a better job. Gusto at right back, Trevor Chalobah or Achiempong as right centre back, and the left centre back Badia Shield or even Chalobah or even Hato, and then Cucurella at left back. That's tactical simplicity and not overcomplication. Chelsea's best performances have come from when the structure was clear, when the roles were familiar, and the press triggers were just very simple and straightforward. When a team starts to over rotate positions, constantly switching in-game roles, and changing the build-up shapes every week, that's where you start to see confusions. There was so much flatness, so much confusion, hesitation, and gaps in the game against Leeds. There's got to be a default tactical identity that Chelsea must always return to. One trusted press structure, one reliable defensive block, and one offensive spacing pattern. This is what have separated great managers from mediocre managers or average managers. Let there be a default defensive structure. I mean, overcomplicating things, overcooking things. That's where. I'll use this analogy. Yeah, when you go into the kitchen and you want to impress, and then you bring this and you bring that, you bring this and you bring that, and then you add everything together in the hopes that you're going to make a masterclass dish, like a sumptuous dish, and then you come out and the salt has ruined it. This is just what he did. Maybe because you want to be aerially dominant and all that against the front line for the Leeds United team. But tactical simplicity would have made a lot of difference. And then Chelsea need to learn how to win ugly. We need to learn how to win ugly. We could see how they went toe-to-toe against Arsenal. We could see how they went toe-to-toe against Barcelona. Okay, and Maresca has alluded to the fact that probably that's one of the reasons, because of the physical demands against Arsenal and the Champions League game against Barcelona, maybe had a knock-on effect on Chelsea. And that's why they were able, that it showed in the game. But then again, this is where you don't need to drop a 10 out of 10 or a 100 out of 100 every week. We did that when Chelsea came back, when we went on against Burnley just after the international break. They didn't play anything classy or anything fancy, but they did the job. They got the job done, and that is what Arsenal went against Brentford. And as stubborn as Brentford were, we all know how stubborn Brentford is. How stubborn that team is. But Arsenal got the job done. They didn't play a 10 out of 10 game. But they won. They found a way to win. Chelsea need to know how to win ugly. On the days that it doesn't go our way, we should be able to win ugly, push down defense line. Every time Chelsea is up against a team that's set up in a 5-4-1 system or a low block system, it becomes a problem for Chelsea. And Leeds proved it again. We're becoming too predictable. On the day that we go up against teams that open up and all that, you see Chelsea are their best. But the day that Chelsea are up against low block teams, it's off. They need to know how to win ugly, and the sooner they do that, the better. Because the moment momentum shifts, Chelsea sometimes starts to rush, overcommit numbers. They lose positional discipline, and it's not nice. It's not nice. I was so pissed off. I was so livid. At some point I had to turn off the TV because I wasn't feeling what I was seeing from the boys. They should learn how to tactically foul at the right time. Slowing restart, keeping possessions under pressure, and drawing teams out instead of forcing openings. And then this side to side passes and all that, you could see the frustration because of the low blocks. Chelsea had no answer to Leeds' low block setup. Esteval got so frustrated and he got himself yellow carded. Enzo Maresca needs to trust the team. He needs to trust the squad depth. Okay. Now we've seen that I don't want to see Tosin in the lineup anytime soon. Enzo Maresca has also alluded to the fact that the biggest regret was not starting giving Achiempong the starting minutes against Leeds. And he made mention of Tosin. Said Tosin is the most experienced player in the team. But what did he do? Which means he's not. I can say he's actually throwing Tosin under the bus by using Tosin to make such analogy or such example. But then what he was trying to say is that experience is not everything. And that's right. That's correct. Experience is not everything. If you had given Achiempong the place to play in instead of Tosin, I don't think Chelsea would have lost the way they lost. Okay, so Enzo Maresca needs to trust the boys and give them playing time. Rotation does three vital things. Okay, keeps the legs fresh, keeps motivation high, and we can see that there's enough competition in the squad right now. If you don't trust them, the competition and the hunger will start to go down because only one set of in the team will feel like they're the ones Enzo Maresca fancy, and the other ones will start to have the mindset that Enzo Maresca doesn't fancy them no matter what they do. Will start to down tool. And then leads me to my last talking point, which is mentality. Talent is not just enough. Okay, we have a lot of players that are full of talent and we're still expecting more. We all know that Liam Delap is a very good. There's a killer in Liam Delap. There's a fine player in João Pedro. There's a fine player in Jamie Gittins, even Garnacho, even Esteval, and so on and so forth. Okay, but talent is just not enough. They need to move away from that talent shift to a tough mentality, that a mental state that should show that they are serious title contenders. And the game against Bournemouth should be the first. We need to respond and respond fast without even conceding. Chelsea must become a team that responds immediately after conceding. Must stay focused when leading. Maintain discipline under pressure and never look mentally fragile because we keep looking. The moment they scored, the moment Leeds got the first goal, and that was owing to the fact that Liam Delap lost his man, that the man he was marking. Switch off in dangerous areas causes things like this. And after the first goal went in, they down tooled. You could see the hesitance in Chelsea, confusion everywhere, all over the gap. This is where leaders are born. This is where captains earn authorities. This is where a group becomes a unit. And this is why Arsenal are they are ahead of a lot of teams, the rest of the teams in the Premier League. The biggest issue right now that the boys have is the mental structure, and that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. We are ahead of schedule in some areas, and we are obviously behind in others. The foundation is there, the youth, the energy, the technical quality, even the tactical visions are there. But going forward, everything depends on the fitness management, the tactical clarity, the squad rotation, and the mental growth. If Enzo Maresca can get this right as soon as possible, then we're on to big things. I am not accepting the fact that Chelsea is out of the title race because it's still early. When we get to February and then we'll see the table, then we can all agree that okay, maybe Chelsea are not doing very well. Then we can all agree that Chelsea is not in the title race, or they are out of the title race. But if Maresca can fix all this that I've mentioned, I think we can still chase and catch up. Let me know what you guys think in this. Let me know what you guys think about all that I've said, and what you guys think if I've missed out on anything. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as we move to my match predicted lineup for the game against Bournemouth. So this is my lineup. I mean the lineup that I will go with for the game against Bournemouth. Okay, and in goal we have Sanchez. I mean Sanchez has been doing exceptionally well. And for those of you who are coming out to slag off Sanchez for the game against Leeds and because of his passes and all that, you see, if you notice something, when we have Fofana and Chalobah at the back, Sanchez is comfortable and he trusts those in front of him to be able to receive his passes and all that. But because of Tosin making the rest of the back line looking so bad, okay, Sanchez had to keep whacking the ball, even though he wasn't whacking it. If he wants to clear the ball, the only problem I have with Sanchez is that if he intends to whack the ball out, he should kick the ball high. Because he kept kicking the ball out, but then kicking it into the hands of the Leeds players. And we ended up under pressure. So Sanchez needs to learn how to kick the ball well. That's the only thing I'm slagging about. None of those goals that we considered were any of his fault. If the defense line, even the midfield, was looking very off, if they had done their job well, I don't think Sanchez would be in a position where he had to concede 3 goals. So Sanchez in goal, and my defense, I'm going with Gusto at the right back, Fofana and Chalobah at the centre back pairing, and Cucurella at left back. I wouldn't mind even if he starts Ato because of the Champions League game that we're having in midweek next week. And then in midfield, we don't have a choice to go with Enzo and Santos. Santos was exposed against Leeds. Okay, is good. We all know how good Santos is, but we know that Caicedo is a different level entirely. And then we have Palmer just ahead of them. For those who thought that Palmer, or who wanted Palmer to start against Leeds, he's just come back from injury. That's going to be like setting him up for failure, or putting so much pressure on him that can lead to another injury. So I understand and I agree with Maresca not to have started with Palmer in the first place against Leeds. And then at left we'll go with Garnacho, right we'll go with Pedro Neto, and then up top I'll go with Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro and Liam Delap, they are underperforming. And Emmanuel Emega of Strasbourg is going to be looking at these two and be licking his lips, because we know how good Emega is. He's aerially dominant. His hold up is very good. He knows how to run channel, and he's very, very good at pressing. Delap and Joao Pedro are underwhelming in these areas. And then if we need to, so that's going to be my lineup. And then substitution, if we need to bring on players, I don't want Esteval starting this game because it's going to be putting him under pressure. And for those people who are comparing Esteval to Yamal, everyone needs to stop and allow the kid grow, allow the boy grow. Let him even let him enjoy his first season in the Premier League, and then next season see how far he does this season. Then we'll know what to do, or how to handle the situation for Esteval next season. Let him enjoy and enjoy without pressure. Okay, then you can also bring up Branonete later on, Achempong, or maybe you can even start Achempong as right back in place of Gusto Sef. I wouldn't mind. Okay, and then all that if they need, I don't want Rhys James playing today because we have the Champions League next week. So with this, I believe that Chelsea will do a good job. And my match prediction, my score line is going to be Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 1. And in other areas of the league, I'm going to be going with uh um because Arsenal is going to be taking on Aston Villa at the Villa Park. So I think I still tip Arsenal to win, maybe 2-1 or 1-0, because Aston Villa they look like they're on a run and they're not slowing down. So it's going to be a tough match in that area. And then Manchester City, I expect Manchester City to win the game against Sunderland, probably 3-0 or 3-1. And then Newcastle, I expect Newcastle to dismantle Bournemouth. Tottenham, I expect a 1-1 draw because that's the story and history of Tottenham. I'm expecting Liverpool to come out with a 3 point against Leeds at the Elland Road. So let me know what you guys think about my match prediction for all these games that I've predicted, and don't forget to comment, share your thoughts in the comment section below, like the video, and please share. You guys help me share the video because that's the only way you can help this channel grow. Okay, I'll be here to give you guys my match reaction immediately after the game tomorrow. So don't forget to turn on your notification bell and check out this space for my match reaction tomorrow. But until then, it's Chelsea first, rivals next. Peace.